The next 2 episodes are set to deliver a powerful emotional storm, filled with heartache, regret, unexpected alliances, and the kind of dramatic twists that keep Salem's residents and viewers on edge. Monday, April 28th, a night of new beginnings and deep regrets. On Monday, the storylines begin on a seemingly sweet note, but quickly spiral into deep, emotional territory. Young Tate Black makes a bold move by asking Sophia Choi to be his date for the upcoming prom. At first glance, it seems like a simple, sweet invitation, the kind teenagers everywhere dream about. But with everything happening in Salem lately, nothing is ever truly simple. There are hints that this prom might become something far more complicated than a traditional night of youthful fun. Meanwhile, heartbreak looms large elsewhere in town. Jada Hunter, finding herself spending more time with Sean Brady lately, decides to share a casual evening with him, picking up some takeout and enjoying a quiet night together. But their evening is shattered when Sean receives a devastating phone call. The news? His father, Brady, is dying. The blow hits Sean hard, but the emotional weight is made even heavier by the terrible fact he cannot escape. Sean was the one who pulled the trigger that wounded his father. Although it was an act committed under tragic circumstances, Sean cannot shake the guilt that he might have sealed Beau's fate. The self-blame is overwhelming, gnawing at his spirit. In his mind, it is not just that Beau is dying, it is that he is the reason why. Jada, standing by his side, tries her best to offer comfort. It seems she may have even moved back into her room above the bar to be closer during this painful time. But can any amount of support mend a heart breaking under the weight of guilt and despair? Elsewhere, in another corner of Salem, the devastating news continues to ripple through the Brady family. Kayla Brady, carrying her own heavy heart, sits down with Marlena and Steve Johnson. With great sadness, she tells them the truth: Beau Brady is dying. There are no miracle cures this time, no last-minute rescues. The news leaves Steve and Marlena reeling, struggling to accept that one of their own is slipping away. And as families grapple with the impending loss, another emotional battle brews. Marlena Evans has a heart-to-heart talk with Johnny DiMera, who is wrestling with deep, personal demons. Johnny's mind is a battlefield, torn between his love for his family and the shame he carries about his origins. He has recently uncovered dark truths about his parents. The twisted history between E.J. DiMera and Sammy Brady. The revelation of the circumstances surrounding his conception has left Johnny feeling tainted, as if his very existence is somehow wrong. He questions whether he is worthy to become a father himself, doubting whether he has the right to bring new life into the world when he feels so stained by the past. And making matters worse, Johnny recently pulled a gun on EJ during a heated confrontation. Word of this shocking moment seems to have gotten out, threatening to further fracture the fragile bonds within the DiMera family. Tuesday, April 29th, Battles of the Heart and Reckonings at Home. Tuesday's episode, number 177 of season 60, continues the emotional roller coaster, layering in new conflicts and confrontations. Maggie Horton finds herself once again in a difficult position as she confronts Philip Kiriakis over his actions toward Xander Cook. Maggie has long believed in redemption, and in her eyes, Xander is living proof that people can change. She has seen Xander fight his darker impulses, rebuild his life, and even earn a place in the family's affections. She now sees him as Victor Kiriakis' rightful son, not just by blood, but by the strength of character he has shown. Maggie desperately wants to believe in Philip as well. She hopes to see the goodness in him, to find some trace of the young man she once loved as a son. But his recent betrayals make that hope harder to hold on to. Philip's actions have driven a wedge between himself and Xander, and Maggie's heart aches over the discord. Behind the scenes, actors Paul Telfer and J.P. Lavoisier have spoken warmly about their work together, describing a genuine brotherly bond that translated into their performances. It is a bitter irony that the characters they portray are so at odds when, behind the cameras, laughter and camaraderie flowed so easily. Meanwhile, Xander himself faces a different battle: guilt. In a tender moment, he opens his heart to Sarah Horton, but the shadows of the past cling tightly. For all the progress he has made, self-doubt lingers just beneath the surface. On another front, young love and revenge take center stage. Holly Jonas, watching from the sidelines, witnesses Tate Black sharing a sweet bonding moment with Sophia Choi. Jealousy sparks within Holly's heart. Though Tate's prom plans seem innocent enough, Holly sees them as a betrayal. And Holly is not the kind of girl to sit quietly and nurse her wounds. There are rumblings that she might plot a bit of revenge, perhaps by finding a date of her own and making sure Tate sees exactly what he's missing. It is the kind of teenage drama that can spark a firestorm of emotions, particularly when feelings are still so raw and tender. Adding to the tension, Doug Williams finds himself in unexpected trouble. Reports suggest that Doug may have been caught sneaking around the Kiriakis mansion, possibly by Maggie Horton herself. The reason behind his sneaking around remains unclear. Is it innocent mischief, or something more serious? Regardless, the discovery could open a whole new can of worms within the household. These episodes promise not just heartbreak, but the kind of deep, soul-searching drama that has always made days of our lives unforgettable. Salem's families are being tested to their very limits, by grief, by guilt, by betrayal, and by the timeless struggles between hope and despair. Next, as another week dawns over Salem, the town's residents are once again swept up in a whirlwind of emotions, decisions, and confrontations that will leave deep marks on their lives. In Days of Our Lives, the coming days promise heartfelt advice, desperate plans, simmering tensions, and the first sparks of battles that could escalate into full-blown wars. For the families and lovers of Salem, nothing will ever be the same again. Marlena, a voice of reason amidst turmoil. At the heart of this emotional tempest stands Marlena Evans, the pillar of strength and compassion for so many in Salem. Recognizing the inner battles her loved ones are facing, Marlena steps in to offer guidance, acting as a beacon of wisdom in a world that feels increasingly unstable. First, she turns her attention to Johnny DiMera, who has been grappling with a life-altering decision about adoption. Johnny's heart is heavy with uncertainty. On one hand, he dreams of building a family, of creating something good and beautiful out of the mess his life has sometimes been. On the other hand, doubts gnaw at him. Doubts about his worthiness, about his readiness, and about whether he can truly give a child the love and stability they deserve. As Johnny pours out his fears, Marlena listens patiently. She reminds him that being a parent is not about being perfect, it is about showing up, about loving fiercely, and about being willing to grow. She encourages him to trust his heart but also not to rush a decision that will define his life and the life of an innocent child. Meanwhile, Belle Black, Marlena's daughter, finds herself seeking her mother's advice as well. Belle is entangled in her own struggles, navigating the treacherous waters of family loyalty, personal integrity, and the complicated relationship she has with her half-brother E.J. DiMera. Marlena offers her daughter the same unconditional support she gives to Johnny, not telling her what to do, but reminding her that courage and honesty must guide her actions. Johnny's crossroads. A life-changing decision. The weight of Marlena's counsel presses heavily on Johnny's heart. In the wake of their conversation, Johnny stands at a crossroads. Signs increasingly suggest that he may decide not to go through with the adoption. Clues abound. Chanel Dupree, Johnny's partner, is seen seeking encouragement from her mother, Paulina Price. Chanel's doubts mirror Johnny's, reflecting a shared hesitation between the two lovers. Meanwhile, Tate Black, ever the opportunist, seems to sense an opening, a weakness he can exploit in Johnny. Tate's actions hint at a brewing rivalry that could have far-reaching consequences. In the end, it seems that Johnny's decision may be to step back, to put adoption on hold, not out of fear, but out of a deep and mature realization that love cannot be rushed or forced. It is a decision that will change the course of his relationship with Chanel forever. Trouble at the Kiriakis mansion. Old grudges ignite new fires. While some in Salem wrestle with matters of the heart, others are embroiled in more fiery confrontations. At the Kiriakis mansion, tensions reach a boiling point as Philip Kiriakis finds himself under fire from two formidable women, Maggie Horton and Gabby Hernandez. Maggie, ever the matriarch, is furious with Philip. She has always tried to see the best in him, believing that deep down he carries the Kiriakis' legacy with honor. But Philip's recent choices have tested her faith to the breaking point. She confronts him head-on, her words sharp but tinged with deep disappointment. At the same time, Gabby is not one to hold her tongue. Sparks fly when she clashes with Philip in a heated verbal exchange that leaves no doubt about the depth of their animosity. Gabby, never one to back down from a fight, unleashes a tirade that rattles even the usually unflappable Philip. Their argument is not just a simple squabble. It is the beginning of a feud that could erupt into something much larger. Beneath their anger lies a volatile mix of ambition, betrayal, and old wounds that have never truly healed. If these two continue to butt heads, Salem could soon witness a power struggle the likes of which it hasn't seen in years. Xander's spiral, a desperate gamble elsewhere in town. Xander Cook continues his downward spiral. Despite a heartfelt, soul-bearing conversation with Sarah Horton, the woman who knows him better than anyone, Xander seems incapable of pulling himself back from the brink. Sarah pleads with him to find his better self, to stop making choices that only lead to more pain and regret. But Xander, stubborn and desperate, refuses to listen. Instead, he hatches a new scheme, one even riskier and more foolish than the last. This time, his target is Alex Kiriakis. Xander draws Alex into his latest farce, spinning a web of lies and half-truths designed to achieve his aims. Whether Alex will see through the deception remains to be seen. But one thing is clear, Xander is playing a dangerous game, and if he loses, the consequences could be devastating. Xander's actions are not just about survival. Deep down, they are driven by a profound sense of self-loathing, a belief that he does not deserve happiness or redemption. And so, he sabotages himself again and again, pushing away the very people who might have saved him. The calm before the storm. As the week unfolds, the emotional stakes in Salem grow ever higher. Families are torn between loyalty and betrayal. Lovers wrestle with doubt and desire. Old enemies find themselves on a collision course, and fragile alliances begin to fracture. But amidst all the chaos, there are still moments of tenderness. Moments where hope flickers, where love, though battered and bruised, refuses to die. Marlena's wisdom offers a lifeline to those willing to listen. Johnny's decision, though painful, reflects a maturity that could one day pave the way for deeper happiness. Even the battles at the Kiriakis' mansion remind us that passion, in all its forms, is what keeps life burning brightly. Yet, make no mistake, Salem is on the edge of a knife. The smallest misstep could tip the balance, plunging the town into new depths of drama and despair. As the characters of Days of Our Lives move forward, they carry with them the scars of the past, and the hope that somehow, against all odds, they might find their way to a better future. For the citizens of Salem, the road ahead is treacherous. But it is also filled with possibility. And as always, their lives, messy, beautiful, tragic, and triumphant, continue to captivate and inspire us all.